Aloha, everyone. How you guys doing? If you're watching this on the recording, all good. Got some good tips and some good things to go over today. I know that we sent out this email blast to let you guys all know that I'm going live, but I know life happens and whatnot, and sometimes people can get caught up in the other things that they're doing. Can always come back and check this out at a later time. My man Arjel's on here. Tomoe, all the way from Japan. Tomoe joining us. Thank you so much, Tomoe, for being here. Jorge, is that you? Hey, Doc. It says, hey, Doc. Oh, man. So many people call me Doc. It's so weird. It's so weird when people call me Doc. I think, Arjel, I think you started a trend of calling me Doc. Pauline. Jorge is on here from New York. I think Pauline's down in the Philippines. Either that, Pauline, maybe you're here in the U.S. Not really sure. Lisa, good to see you. Aloha, Tomoe. Tomoe saying aloha kumu. In case you guys don't know, kumu means teacher in Hawaiian. I'm not wearing my aloha shirt, Tomoe. I'm so grateful that you were able to still recognize me. Although I do have some beautiful leaves over here, but I think they're fake. I don't think they're real. They wouldn't be doing too well. Angelina from Lake Tahoe, man. We got Ray coming on board. Ray is a regular of ours. And so, hey, so good to see all of you guys here. You know, I'm going to admit, I wasn't sure what to really talk about today. You know, it's Facebook Live. It's me getting to just vamp and talk about some stuff and go through some of the questions that you guys have. I know people don't come all geared up and ready to go with some questions. So I wanted to kind of narrow down a topic for us to talk about. How's it going, everyone that's joining us? So nice of you guys to be here. The first thing that came into my mind had to do with NLP. Had to do with, you know, neuro-linguistic programming, and I'm thinking about talking about anchoring, and I stopped, and I'm just like, what do I really feel like talking about right now? Look at that. Jorge's like, let's talk about some good old NLP. Actually, you know what, Jorge, although I'm not wearing the Aloha shirt, I decided to just kind of sit back in the chair instead of standing up and talking like I normally do. And let's talk about a persona. Let's go deeper than NLP. And I don't know how you can go much deeper than NLP. NLP's badass, but how can we go deeper than that? Let's talk about a persona. Let's talk about these masks that we put on, these things that we can put up as a shield that actually prevent us from being truly empowered. The theme that I kept getting that I wanted to talk about today is empowerment. What can we do to be more empowered as an individual? So Carl Jung came up with a term called persona. And persona comes from the Latin word that means actor's mask. It's the mask that we put on when we go into an area of our life in order to fulfill either what we think people want or what we want in that area. So in other words, being the tough guy at home. You know, I'm the dad. This isn't me, by the way. I'm a bubbling, crazy teenage boy in my brain when it comes to my kids and love to run around and have fun with them. Do you know that there are some people out there that they believe that they need to be the tough guy? You know, I got to go home and I need to, you know, be the man and make sure that I don't show my kids any emotions and whatnot. There's nothing wrong with that if it's who you truly are. Listen to me very carefully. There's nothing wrong with that if that's who you truly are. If truly deep down inside, you're not really in touch with your emotions and that's just who you are, then that's perfect. There's no problem with that. There's a problem when your persona is out of alignment with who you are. So, your ego is who you think you are. Long story short, your ego is your self-identity. And so, it's kind of tough to get rid of your ego. I have some people that come to my Huna workshops and say, oh, at what class do we learn how to shed ourselves of our ego? And I said, you can't actually shed yourself of your ego. What you need to be able to do is have a healthy ego, a healthy self-identity, a healthy expression of who you are. Even the most enlightened individual has an awareness of who they are. And so therefore, you can't get rid of your ego. Now, Lisa, you say you have no persona. And I appreciate you saying that. I would like almost beg to differ because we all have a persona. So for example, if you dress a certain way at work and you dress a different way when you go out to dinner, just that little shift right there, that's a persona. If when I go on stage and I start to teach and someone on this call, on this Facebook Live called me doc, that's a persona. I'm a doctor. I have a PhD in health psychology. My kids don't call me doc though. My kids call me dad. So that's a different persona. So Lisa, the question isn't whether or not we have a persona, a big persona, a small persona. Is your persona an extension of who you truly are? Or is there a lack of alignment between who you are and your persona? I like the way you put it. Okay, then I have a small persona. That's perfect. Then, not a lot of problems. Lisa, you must already have a level of empowerment. You see, when I get up on stage, many people get up and become a presenter or a teacher, and they try to be something because they think that that's what the group needs. Like a guy who gets up and, I'm going to be very direct, I'm going to be very salesy, and I've known people who are gifted at presenting, and what you see on stage is different than what you see off stage. On stage, you see them being a certain way because they think that that's what their students need. That's what they need. Off stage, then, you see a different reaction, a different person. Well, the same is true. My best friend, one of my best friends in high school, his father passed away. And we went to the funeral, and all of these people were getting up and talking about this guy who was, their work buddy, and he laughs all the time, and he's the jokester, and he's telling all these jokes. And my friend was sitting there next to me going, are they talking about my dad? Are they talking about my dad right now? Because I never remember him telling jokes. And I got to tell you, I don't remember him ever telling a joke either. I mean, I knew him from when I was a kid, and I was like, wow, what a difference in persona. His home life, very serious, very strict, and very almost an authoritarian figure for my friend. And apparently when he would go to work, very different individual. Who was the real one of those people? Who was the real person? Was the person at work or the person at home? That's when you begin to have a problem, you guys. Powerful persona, having an empowered persona, that truly comes from it being an expression of who you are. So rather than thinking, let's get rid of the persona, how about thinking, how do we make this mask that we put on, a reflection of who we truly are inside? So that the mask is just this thin little thing that you can see right through, and who you are shines through, and what people see is the true essence of who you are. That's what Jung talked about when he talked about aligning his persona with his ego, with his true self. Not ego, sorry, true self, the true self of who you are. So the question that came up, and Ray, I saw your question come in there pretty quickly. Let me see if I can just click on it. Ray said, how do we integrate all of the different personas? Start with one area, Ray. So my best advice to you is that you start with one area, an area where you feel like there is a lack of alignment, a lack of alignment between who you truly are and what you're putting out there. So in other words, you feel like you're putting on an act. If you say, I feel like I'm putting on an act, or you say, I feel like I can't be me, you know you have a persona misalignment. When you say, I can't express who I am, then the first thing that you want to do is let go of any baggage around that. For example, one of my grandparents, it doesn't matter which one, and my mom or my dad might watch this one day, so it doesn't matter which one it is, one of them had an inability to admit when he was wrong. Obviously one of my grandfathers, and an amazing individual, a brilliant man. Both of them were. One of my grandfathers would admit when he was wrong, and the other one wouldn't. Even when faced with I am wrong and this isn't who I am, he would make an excuse. He would make an excuse and say, well, I was pushed into that situation or that. And I would sit there and just listen to it and think, what's so difficult? Like my other grandfather would just openly say, hey, I made a mistake. I'm wrong. I adopted that more of a strategy in dealing with my own kids, and I've made mistakes with them. I know that there are some parents that believe that if they show that they're wrong, that they made a mistake, that somehow their kids won't respect them as much. I think actually my kids respect me more because I'm able to say to them, I was wrong. I flew off the hook. I went overboard. You know, I pushed too much. And I've said that to them. No excuses. Eliminate all those excuses. And so one of the things that I reconciled a long time ago when I first became a dad was this idea that why act like I have to be perfect? Why not show them that human beings are perfect in their imperfection? That human beings are amazing in their not so amazing moments. That you can recover from that. I would rather show them that. Now that's me. That is me, and that is a reflection of who I truly want to be inside. So I let it out. If I'm goofy with my kids, if I laugh with them, if I share with them what's in my heart, all of those things, if you feel like you're just being you and what's in your heart is shining through, then you know that your persona and who you truly are is aligned. Stephen, you say once we meld into one being, we become free. That's so true, Stephen. When we discover that this is just who I am, and I'm going to show up for a Facebook Live and be me, and I'm also going to put on a collared shirt for you guys. Didn't have time to grab an Aloha shirt, and so I put on a collared shirt. Even that part of it is a persona, and yet to be able to just be free and be you, that allows your light to shine through. The other part that I put on this Facebook post is that when you are allowing who you truly are to shine through, you're living what the Hawaiians referred to as aloha. Living aloha. How many of you guys are my Huna students on here? Give a big thumbs up for aloha, or a big heart. Actually, give a big heart for aloha. Aloha means love. Aloha means that you are expressing what is in your heart. And that is how you shed yourself of false personas. The way you shed yourself of false personas is you look into your heart. You look into your heart and you ask, what truly is important to me? What is it that I need to express from my heart? One of the deeper teachings of aloha says to stand in the light. Ao. Ao is light. And then the second A in aloha can refer to deep love or true love. And when you take those two ideas and put them together, just being who you are, standing in your light, and letting your heart shine through, I think that naturally just brings down our personas. It brings down our personas. It brings down the shields that we put up, the barriers that we put up. And it allows us to let our true expression of who we are come through. I admit, you have to be free of your baggage. You have to be free of your baggage in order to do it. Greg said, just making sure the persona doesn't get too far away from the self. Yeah, exactly. Oh, you read the books. From your book, Integrate the Shadow, or was it Master the Path? Total, Greg, forgiveness. I wrote those books a long time ago, and they were my second and third book. I'm writing my sixth book right now, so it was in one of those. And it's true. It's so true. That's another way of looking at it. That if you keep your persona close to your heart, then what you have inside truly shines through. I'm a different person when I step up on the stage, Jorge says. The first thing that you did that is, I want to commend you, Jorge, is the first thing that you did was you say that you are a different persona when you're on the stage. If that works for you, I got no judgment on it. I know some people that have made an entire career, and I'm not mentioning names, but having been in this career, in this field of personal growth since I was a kid, I've seen some people make a name for themselves based on a persona. I've seen some people who then find that what they put out there on the stage is so out of alignment with who they are that they crack, that they finally sit there and they go, I can't do this anymore. I'm not being me. And then you see a whole different person come out. My recommendation would be, as long as it's who you are and that you feel pono, the word pono, right with it, then it's totally awesome. I respect your scientific precision, Dr. Matt. Oh, thank you so much, Louise. I appreciate that. I do my best to, bring in a concept of the science, the research to validate what we're saying, and also to be able to take a look at how we can, as individuals, not just bring in the research aspect of it, but also the more practical aspect. How can we begin to use it? Let's talk about how to use what we're talking about right here. There's another really good comment here that I also show my kids that I recognize my mistakes. It's important to tell them that I'm not perfect. I love that. We're doing the best we can with the resources that we have, right? And so the first thing you have to do is you have to look inside yourself. And you have to sit there and go, is what I'm putting out there who I truly am? And if it's not, and you feel like there's a negative emotion, or you feel that there is a limiting belief, find a technique that can help you with that. Find a technique that can assist you. The stuff that we teach at the Empowerment Partnership, mental and emotional release, and ho'oponopono. I know many of you on here have done classes with me, and that those techniques have helped a lot to kind of really reduce those barriers that we put up. Once you've done that, set a target. Set a target of who is it that is in here that I want to let out. And then begin to just step by step, allowing a little bit more to shine through and a little bit more to shine through, and it'll begin to build up. So I want to just scroll through here and see if there's any questions. Lisa. Okay, Lisa's bringing up, it's important, parenting children. Yeah, you're right. Actually, hormones can affect everyone. Men and women can absolutely affect our moods. We definitely have a physical body. As a doctor of psychology, I'm not going to sit here and go, everything's all in your head. There's a trickle-down effect, though. I want you to think about this for a moment. There is a trickle-down effect from the spiritual, which is energy, down to the mental, through the emotional, and down into the physical. And so if you take a look at your beliefs around certain things, for example, if you believe that something's going to be difficult, you increase the likelihood of it being difficult. So I never negate the physiological aspect of it. I have a teenage boy. I have an 18-year-old. And as a good teenage boy, he sometimes suffers from a psychological disorder called teenage brain, which those hormones rage and the emotions can be all over the place. So absolutely, our bodies can go through changes, can go through hormonal shifts and whatnot. And when that happens, man, I just sit back and watch and I'm like, there's no NLP, there's no HUNA that's going to help out with this. He's got what you call teenage brain. And it happens, and you just kind of like hold on to the reins. I want to share with you guys something that my stepmother taught me. Something that my stepmother shared, which really helped me as a parent. She said, you got about 11 or 12 years to kind of aim your kid in the direction that you think they should go in, and then you got to let go. And then you go out to about age 21, 22, 23, and catch them, and you get to see how good your aim is. And she's like, in between that 13 to 21, maybe even a little bit longer for some people, you just kind of got to let go. You got to let go and just trust that your aim was good. And I've been very fortunate so far. My aim has been pretty okay with my kids. Not perfect aim, just like what we're talking about here, doing our best. Adrian put, it's so important to live on our truths. That's so absolutely correct. It's so important to live in our truth because deeper teaching of aloha, the word oia-io, to be truthful. You know what? Let's talk about this. Let's talk about truthfulness. You guys want to talk about truthfulness for a moment? I got a couple other cool questions on here about the shadow. Let's talk about truth, though. I think this is a good topic to bring in here. Some people are afraid to tell the truth because they believe that it will hurt someone else, that they believe that by telling the truth that they're somehow going to offend someone. I would recommend going to an NLP class or taking hours or our online stuff, because there's probably a way you could say it that will lower the hurt, that will reduce the intensity of what you're about to say. So in other words, there's probably a positive way to say it. In addition to that, I'm a big believer in sharing the truth with the people that are the closest to you. If you don't tell someone what your truth is, like I say to my son, here's an example with my son, sticking on the teenage brain topic. Ethan, I know you're a teenager now. I said this to him when he was 14. And I know some teenagers are like, you know what, Dad, don't hug me. I said, but I'm a hugger. And so is it all right with you if I give you a hug? And if it's not, let me know, because I'll hug you in the car before I drop you off. And Ethan looked at me and he's like, I like the fact that you give me the hug. He's like, thank you so much. And sometimes I'd get out of the car to drop him off at high school, put my arms around and give him a big hug. And he's the first one to go, love you, Dad. I'm like, I love you too. I remember one kid was walking by and he said it, and the other kid goes, love you, Dad. And Ethan looks at him and says, yeah, I'm sorry you can't do that with your dad, but I love my dad. I was like, that's the truth. That's speaking your truth right there. Because at the end of the day, don't you want to be around people that love you for who you are? Hey, look, if my son had said to me, hey, Dad, hug me in the car before you drop me off, I would have done it. I'm still going to hug him because that's my truth. I'm still going to hug him because that's who I am. I'm affectionate, and I let them know that. That helps them to understand who I am. And that way there's no hurt feelings. Like I don't go home and go, oh, why didn't my son hug me today? Many people live that approach where they believe that the other person should know that's what you want. And most people are not mind readers. Most people need to be told. And that information that you share it from your heart. David asks, how does my shadow relate to my persona? David's been doing some studying of the shadow, huh? Whew. I could do an entire Facebook Live on the shadow. Oh, man. David, how about this? I know Janice, my VP, is on here, and so is Arjul, my man who heads up and helps out with all of our customer service and whatnot. Two amazing individuals. One of them will remind me to make my next Facebook Live about the shadow. Whew, that's going to be a heavy one, though, David. So why don't you hang on to that question, because I think I would need at least a good 15 minutes just to explain the shadow and a little bit of time to just talk about it. Thank you so much. I think that was you giving me a thumbs up. Yeah, I know. Michelle's like persona versus shadow. Work on your persona first. Here, you guys, listen carefully. I know you guys want to jump into the shadow because the shadow is so much fun and such a badass topic to talk about. I get that. What creates issues with your shadow, the first thing that creates issues with your shadow that people have to reconcile is a persona not aligned with who you are. Let me say that again. Shadow issues, the most basic and surface level things that you have to handle first is persona out of alignment with who you are. So if I was working with you one-on-one and you were my client and you wanted to work on your shadow, this is where I would start. I would start with, let's look at your persona, because your persona out of alignment is what's causing a shadow issue. So many people delve into shadow first and get confused and don't even know what to do to correct it. The concept of the shadow, the concept of the persona, it's so much fun. I wrote books about it. It's a ton of fun to talk about. But who cares about what I know? It's what can you guys do with it? That's more important than sharing all these things that I know. It's what do you do with it? So what you do, discover where your persona is out of alignment with your true identity of who you are. And what can you begin to do to lower the baggage, to reduce the baggage, to get the baggage out of the way so that you can feel free and letting that aspect of who you are truly inside out. Tomoy, I love that. Aloha is my go-to checklist on how to live. So absolutely true. I love it. Oh, I scrolled over and got to see a picture of all of you guys. Jorge, when is your next event, man? I'm in LA. Our entire team is going to be in LA. It's going to be an awesome event. It's in LA, and I don't have my... my son graduates from high school on May 24th, so it's the weekend before that. I'm going to be in Los Angeles, and then I fly right out and go get to watch my... I'm going to have a kid this summer who's been graduated from high school. I just started feeling old for a second there, in such a good way. Lisa, even with teenage brain, I think NLP helps you to speak. That's so true. Even with teenage brain, you know, my son has done prac, master prac, and trainer's training, and I got to give him kudos. You know, even when he falls down on the path, he just gets up and goes, I screwed up, this is on me, And I don't know who just posted old man, but that was pretty damn funny. I just saw that pop up. May 18th to 21st. That's awesome. Jody, you're not familiar with the HUNA? Got a couple of places to help you out with that. You can go to huna.com, HUNA.com. Check it out. I also have a book on it. You can go check out our website at NLP.com and see all the stuff in there about your, all the stuff in there about HUNA and NLP and all the other fun stuff that I get to teach. So very cool. Let's see. I want to see if there's any other questions in here. And same with the style of writing. Yeah, I like that. That's very true. And you know what? If you read my older books, I had a different style of writing back then because, you know, I was in my 30s and I was at a different place in my life. So it's not that a person changes their persona. A person changes themselves, and that can shift your persona. That can shift your persona. Wendy, I'm so glad. Wendy's like, I needed this today. That's so cool. I'm trying to scroll down all the way here. The shadow is pretty good. That one puts one in check. Yeah, the shadow definitely puts you in check, man. When you face your shadow. Look at you, Whitney. Thank you for throwing out the dates of our training. I appreciate that. God, Ray, man. Ray, you're going to have a kid graduating from college. That's pretty awesome. Let's see. So shadows yourself away from others. Jody, I'll be talking about shadow on the next one. Jorge, question was, do you have anything online? Yeah, empowermentsuccess.com. Empowermentsuccess.com is our online area that you can go check out all of our online trainings, and you can check out our all of our product is digital up there. And Wendy, I forgot about that, Wendy. You were with Ethan as an 11-year-old when he was doing some trainings and whatnot, Wendy. That's so cool. You want to know something crazy? He's graduating from high school, and my daughter's 11 now. And my daughter just did her prac training in San Diego a couple of weeks ago. She wanted to make sure that she got it in at 11 because my son did it while he was slightly older, and so she wanted to make sure that she outdid him. I love the sibling competition. All right, so it's 4:30. Oh, Rick, my man Rick. Maui Rick is on here. Congratulations on passing your practitioner exam, and thank you so much. Our mission at the Empowerment Partnership is to truly go out there and help to empower the planet by helping you guys empower yourselves. So I hope this Facebook Live was helpful. If you're watching it on the recording, enjoy it, and I'll look forward to spending some time with you guys again in the future. Aloha.